Use code WyattzWorld on G Fuel or Prize Picks, where you can save yourself a discount on any G Fuel product or match up to $100 of your first deposit. And, all right, let's get this over with. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so first game of the week was obviously Thursday Night Football, and this was one of the only picks I was actually right on this week, and it was the Steelers beating the Titans. You know, as much as people are going to want to take a dump on Will Levis for having the game-ending interception, he still actually looks pretty decent when he throws the ball. Like, his actual passes, they just look really, really good. Derrick Henry also still found a way to produce against the Steelers' pressure, which I didn't really think he was going to be able to, but 17 for 75 and a touchdown's not all that bad. As far as actual receiving goes, now I feel like it's not what a lot of people expected, especially after last week. D-Hop did not go off, but they were still pretty consistent. Also, it's kind of cool to see that Will Levis has no problem hitting literally any target that is open at his disposal. Anyway, peeking at the Steelers now, Kenny Pickett again came to life in the fourth quarter. It's crazy how he can consistently do that, but a little bit scary as to how he can't really get it together until the fourth quarter. Najee got a touchdown, although Jalen Warren severely outproduced him in terms of yardage. Deontay Johnson had 7 receptions for 90 yards and a touchdown. That's his first touchdown in, I think, 2 years. While George Pickens only had 2 receptions for -1 yard. I know that there's some drama going on there, but I don't want to open up my mouth about something I really don't know that much about. Also, just really quick, want to highlight their defense because TJ Watt's catching a lot of shit for walking into his sack that he got, which kind of was true. But from what I got to see as a whole, it looked like the Steelers defense was pretty solid throughout the entire game. So nice bounce back, Pittsburgh, and now you're going to go lose to Green Bay. Now moving on, we got one of the only good things to happen to me this week, and that was the Dolphins once again folding to a team with a winning record. Don't worry, we'll bash my Bills later, but for right now, we're gonna bash you guys because once again, you faced a winning team and you lost. Do want to say I watched this game live on Twitch, was reacting with you guys. It was a ton of fun, and I also picked up on the fact that Tua looked amazing when it came to making athletic plays, but he also missed a lot of passes this game. A lot of overthrows, a lot of underthrows, a lot of just out of reach. It was a little bit odd. I mean, I kind of predicted it for this game, but still, I mean, he doesn't normally miss like that. As far as rushing goes, Mostert had the touchdown. He had 12 carries for 85 yards as well. That's 7.1 yards a blast. Tyreek was actually limited to 8 for 62 and had a costly fumble 6, while the only receiving touchdown came from Cedric Wilson Jr. Defensively, they did have a couple sacks, Jalen Phillips, Bradley Chubb, and I would like to say their secondary actually played really well for like half of the game, the middle half, but they got melted down in the beginning and at the end. Glancing at KC now, Patty went 20 for 30, 185, 2 touchdowns. Pacheco had 16 for 66 on the ground. Noah Gray was the leading receiver at 3 for 34, while Jerick McKinnon and Rashee Rice caught touchdowns, and Travis Kelce was limited to only 3 catches for 14 yards. See, Miami was on it. KC also had 3 sacks, no interceptions in this game. And yeah, now Frankfurt gets treated next week with the Colts versus the Patriots. All right, up next, it's the only other good thing to happen to me, and it's the Vikings beating the Falcons because Josh Dobbs is an American hero. Also, Jaren Hall looked really good before he got hurt too, but Josh Dobbs came in, threw 20 for 30, 158, 2 touchdowns, and also ran for 7 for 66 in 1 touchdown. As far as the rest of the offense went, Cam Akers tore his Achilles, TJ Hawkinson led the team in receiving, Madison caught a touchdown, Brandon Powell caught a touchdown, and KJ Osborne got hit by a truck. Defense also played pretty well considering they gave up 28 points, and Danielle Hunter might be Defensive Player of the Year right now. And most impressively, Greg Joseph went 3 for 3, not missing a kick. The Vikings just scored the most points they've had all year without Kirk Cousins or Justin Jefferson, and with a quarterback they've only had for 3 fucking days. Absolutely insane. Anyway, looking at Atlanta now, Heineke went 21 for 38, 268, a touchdown, a pick. Algier once again got more carries than Bijan, even though he is less productive. And Jonnu Smith led the team in receiving at 5 receptions for 100 yards and a touchdown. Look at Atlanta's defense here, dude. They had 4 sacks and a safety. And they had a kicker who kicked him 14 points. I'm being dead honest. I think if Bijan Robinson would have gotten majority of the carries, the Falcons could have won this game. But your coach hates fantasy so much that he is losing in spite of it, man. You gotta fire him. You gotta get rid of him. Next game we got is the Bears at the Saints. Just a heads up, I didn't watch any of this game. But looking at the Bears first, Tyson Bagent went 18 for 30, 220, 2 touchdowns, and a whopping 3 interceptions. However, he did have 8 carries for 70 yards as well. So, I mean, that's actually kind of good. Other running backs, it was just Dante Foreman basically. He had 20 carries for 83 yards, not terrible, and the receiving was led by Darnell Mooney. However, Cole Kmet logged in 6 receptions for 55 yards and both of the touchdowns. Looks like on the defense, TJ Edwards had a good day too, but everyone else maybe a little lousy. On the Saints side of things, Derek Carr looks like he was pretty clean. Taysom Hill, of course, got in there and threw a touchdown. Someone on Prize Picks told me to play him, and I didn't do it. I should have listened to you. He also had 11 carries for 52 yards. I think someone told me to do that, where I also didn't listen because I just don't know with him, but I should have listened. And then receiving, Chris Olave had 6 for 46, 1 touchdown, and Jawan Johnson had 5 for 29 and another touchdown, while Alvin Kamara continues to be the dump-off king. It should also be pointed out that Demario Davis got a sack, Paulson Adebo got 2 interceptions, Marcus May got 1, and ironically, both kickers missed a field goal in this game, but the Saints walk out on top, and that's a wrap. All right, next game we got was the Rams at the Packers, and man, I was really hoping the Rams would beat these assholes. I shouldn't say that about Green Bay. I really don't hate them. It's just nice to see them do really bad for once. Looking at the Rams first, Brett Rippon, he was atrocious by the box score. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't see hardly any of this game either. Rushing looks like it could not have been worse if they tried. And receiving was just flat out lousy, with Cooper Kupp leading at 2 for 48. Did have 4 sacks on the defense though, with Aaron Donald getting 1 and Byron Young getting 2, while Kobe Turner was the 4th. Looking at Green Bay now, Jordan Love appeared to have a very, very clean game. Aaron Jones scored a rushing touchdown. Luke Musgrave led the team in receiving at 3 for 51 and a touchdown, while Christian Watson might have legitimately gotten run over by the Gravedigger. I got a notification on my phone saying he was being evaluated for a chest injury, back injury, and concussion. Like, what happened? It's like Jair led the team in tackles defensively. Anders Carlson kicked 8 points, and now we get to go watch Green Bay beat the Steelers. And now we've got the Commanders at the Patriots, and Sam Howell, you dog, you just love proving me wrong. It's ridiculous. Not only did the Commanders win in New England, but Sam Howell played out of his mind again in New England. And by the way, in New England isn't so scary anymore. Like, honestly, other than the Bills, who the fuck loses there? Looking at the losers first, the Patriots, Mac Jones went 220, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Ramondre actually made an elite run for one, scoring a touchdown, while Zeke pretty much sat there with a thumb in his ass. Receiving was led by Demario Douglas, while Juju Smith-Schuster actually did something for once this year, 6 receptions for 51 yards, and Hunter Henry caught the touchdown, and it was a dime from Mac. I saw that touchdown. Defense also played pretty well. Juwan Bentley with 2 sacks, Kyle Duggar with the pick. Don't know how to pronounce this guy, but he had a sack as well. But it wasn't enough for the god known as Sam Howell, who threw for 325 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Brian Robinson Jr. had a touchdown, but wasn't very productive on the ground, it appears. And Jahan Dotson got a touchdown that looked to be a little crazy, and their team was led in receiving by Terry McLaurin at 5 receptions for 73 yards. Can't say it was a pretty day defensively. They didn't record a single sack, but obviously they did enough to shut down the Patriots. And the Commanders are now back in the hunt for a wild card spot. Well, kind of. And now we've got the Seahawks versus the best team in the league, the Baltimore Ravens. What did I say last week about them when I picked them? I said, if they beat Seattle and they do it dominantly, they will be my #1 team. And it couldn't have been more dominant than that. I mean, Geno did nothing. Kenneth Walker did nothing. The receiving pretty much did nothing aside from Jackson. It was a horrible day to be a Seahawk fan, while the Ravens just partied. Lamar didn't have a touchdown all day, but threw out of his mind. Tyler Huntley had a passing touchdown. Keaton Mitchell had a rushing touchdown, 9 carries for 138 yards. By the way, Gus Edwards went 5 for 52, 2 more touchdowns. OBJ caught the touchdown, and Mark Andrews led the team at 9 receptions for 80 yards. Also, their defense, aside from the interception, got 4 sacks, 2 of them coming from Kyle Vanoy. I will say it remains to be very impressive as to how shitty Baltimore fans can be, though. Like, they're literally just the most ridiculous people on the planet. I tweeted this yesterday: Ravens are the best team in the league, where I immediately get a quote saying, "Don't switch up on us now," and I'm like, okay, so I can't admit I was wrong about something? To where I get another response from another Ravens fan saying, "No, go to hell." Why are you guys like this? Now moving on, we got Tampa Bay at the Texans, and this was probably the most impressive rookie showcase we have ever seen in our lifetime. So right away, just to look at the Texans, CJ Stroud, 30 for 42, 470 yards, 5 touchdowns. He broke the record for passing yards in a game for rookie quarterback. This guy is so good. I'm so happy he was my offensive rookie of the year, because that is a damn lock. Run game was non-existent, which makes CJ's performance even a little bit more impressive, like considering the guy literally has the team on his shoulders. Receiving obviously went wild. We had 3 different receivers over 100 yards and 4 different receivers with at least 1 touchdown. And defense, well, I mean, yeah, we could talk about Will Anderson getting a sack and Khalil Davis getting a sack, but they allowed 37 points, so that's kind of obsolete to this game. However, I should point out that Dare Agablable, the veteran backup kicker, came in and kicked a field goal, and that was just icing on the cake. Looking at Tampa now, Baker went 21 for 30, 265, 2 touchdowns. He's continuing to play good ball. Rachaad White had 2 rushing touchdowns, although his production was trash. And Mike Evans led the team in receiving, while Cade Otton scored 2 of the touchdowns. Again, defensively, not really that much to talk about. I think Antoine Winfield might have recovered a fumble, and he leads the league in that, but they allowed 39 points. Like, you guys shit the bed. Now moving on, we got the Cardinals at the Browns, and I don't really have anything to say on this one other than the fact that this was exactly what I advertised. I said this was going to be the worst day of Clayton Tune's life, and it was. Poor bastard did nothing. 11 for 20, 58 passing yards, 2 interceptions. As far as the Browns, Deshaun Watson got 2 touchdowns. One of them was banked off of a defender's helmet, but hey. Kareem Hunt also scores a touchdown, while his production has been really low this year. I got to point that out. Like I said, not only Amari caught the touchdown, had 5 receptions for 139, but David Njoku secured the other touchdown from the receiving. Also, the defense had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 sacks. Jesus Christ. All right, up next, we got the Colts at the Panthers. Real quick, just to go over the Colts, because I got something to say about the Panthers here. Gardner Minshew, I thought he would do better, but he played pretty clean, not turning the ball over, throwing a touchdown. Run game was pretty absent. However, JT made a name for himself catching a touchdown, and it was the only offensive touchdown of the day. While on the defense, Kenny Moore had 2 pick sixes. Aside from Kenny Moore, they also sacked Bryce 4 times, had a 3rd interception on the day. And yeah, Indy basically just kicked the absolute hell out of them. Now, moving on to the Panthers really quick, I just want to talk about Bryce Young, because he's about to catch so many unnecessary strays solely on the fact that CJ Stroud played good, not even the fact that Bryce didn't play that well this week. And it's not fair, dude. It's not fair. They're not in the same situation. They're not on the same roster. And I'm not trying to take anything away from CJ Stroud. I think he's excellent. He was my rookie of the year. But it's just not fair to bash the hell out of Bryce Young so fast, solely because a guy drafted beneath him is just doing better. Also, I'd just like to throw some shade at the Chuba Hubbard defenders, because they actually do exist out there. This guy's fucking trash. Now we got the Giants at the Raiders, and 1 game without Josh McDaniels, and they throw up 30 points. Holy hell. Looking at the Giants side of things first, Daniel Jones tore his ACL, so he's out for the year, but I hate to be the guy. I just gotta say, when he did play all year long, even in this game, he looks horrible. So that contract is gonna haunt New York for the next 4 years. As far as Tommy DeVito, he did everything he could. He actually had a pretty good completion percentage, but out of his first 5 pass attempts, he threw 2 interceptions, and that was ugly. Saquon had 90 rushing yards. Wan'Dale Robinson had the solo touchdown. And that's pretty much all New York did all day. As far as the Raiders go, Aiden O'Connell had 209, 0 touchdowns, 0 picks, while Josh Jacobs had 98 yards, 2 touchdowns, and Jacoby Myers also had a 17-yard rushing touchdown. Receiving was kind of all over the place. Devontae Adams didn't do that good. I'm sure he's just happy to be winning again, though. And on the defense, Mad Max Crosby had 3 sacks by himself, while the whole defense totaled 8 of them. I mean, have fucking mercy. Low-key, I might turn into a little bit of a Raiders supporter here. Not a fan, but a supporter, because the new coach, man, he's a dog. All right, moving on, we got the Cowboys at the Eagles, and this is a rare time where I'm gonna just say that I do not agree with the outcome. I really, really don't. I think Dallas outplayed the Eagles, and they should have won this game. I mean, Dak had a great game, 374, 3 touchdowns, 0 picks. I haven't heard the Dak haters for a really long time. They're miserable right now. Run game was a little bit lousy, but receiving was wild. We had 3 different touchdowns from 3 different guys. CeeDee led the team at 11 receptions for 191 yards, and Jake Ferguson, the tight end, was in second at 7 receptions for 91. Also, Micah Parsons made his presence known, having a sack and a half. Sam Williams had a sack. And even though Jalen did have a good passing game, I think their secondary kept up really well. But the Eagles got out on top. As you can see, they took a little bit of a different offensive approach here. Jalen only throwing for 207 and 2 touchdowns, while the run game also had 2 touchdowns. Also, not sure what's going on with D-Swift, but he's not been very good lately. Looking at Philly receiving, A.J. Brown leads 7 for 66 and a touchdown. The Slim Reaper had 3 for 51 and a touchdown. And the Philly defense recorded 5 sacks on Dallas, which obviously will hurt you. And again, I'm not saying Philly, I guess, didn't deserve to win this game, because they played well too, but Dallas, I really feel like they were the better team walking out. And it sounds nuts, but that's still how I feel right now. All right, and finally, we've got Sunday Night Football. It was the Bills losing to the Bengals, and I'm not surprised. I predicted this because we legitimately suck. The only good thing to happen for Buffalo this game is the fact that we only allowed 3 points in the second half of the game. But what good is that when the entire first half, we were like a knife through butter? Yeah, I know some Buffalo fans want to blame it on our injuries, but that's not the problem. Poyer's getting torched. Hyde is getting torched. Von Miller can't make a fucking play, and Dane Jackson is the only guy on defense who looks like he's actually trying. And on top of that, our offense, yeah, we can cook. We can throw up some some points. But we shoot ourselves every fucking time, just like Dalton Kincaid yesterday, getting right up to the red zone and fumbling the ball. Like, it sucks to say it, but it's the truth. This has nothing to do with the fact that we're missing 2 defensive players. This has everything to do with the fact that our defense is playing legitimately fucking horrible. As far as the Bills offense goes, for me to highlight, like, Josh did everything. He threw a boneheaded pick, but him and Diggs still, carried the load. But it's not fun to talk about when it's all for nothing. Looking at the Bengals now, Joey B was surgical, 31 for 48, 348, 2 touchdowns. Mixon production-wise was ass, but he did have a rushing touchdown. And the receiving was actually led by a silent T. Higgins on the year, having 8 catches for 110 yards, while both the receiving touchdowns came from Drew Sample and Irv Smith Jr. But yeah, that's my take on the Bills game. And Bengal fans, no animosity towards you guys at all. I like your team. You guys are fucking cool. You just kicked our ass and I knew it was coming, so have a great week. And that is going to be it for my Week 9 NFL reactions, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you guys have a great week. I just want to remind you that this Thursday I'm going to be in Texas, so we might have a couple pre-records coming. However, with everything I just said, you guys already know what to do. Show support in any way. I really appreciate it, but as always, I'm going to get this edited so you guys can watch it on time. Take care. I'll see you in the next video.